Hi everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are watching us from. Welcome to another episode of Web3 and Chill. I'm Ayush and my friend Vishal hosting today's session with Giorgi, who's the co-founder and the CEO of NFT. Not NFT, it's Enefty, as you can see on his background. So, Georgie, how are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thank you guys for having me in today. I appreciate it.
Really looking forward
Yeah,
to talk more
that's an
about.
amazing wordplay I see with the brand name.
Yeah, it's good that you really spelled it out because for people who only hear it, they really think the first reaction is, "Oh, wait, did you book NFT for yourself?" So
So
that's
so
not
I
the case. So yeah.
so I have a question because you might not be the first person who came with the idea. So how earlier you registered or this brand name and the company name, because this is a very easy for anyone with an NFT background to go and buy a domain ad. So how did you come up with it, and what's the story behind that?
Yeah, I think the thought process is pretty simple because you want to tell people you're into NFT space without really telling them you're into NFT space, right? And we were looking for ways how to showcase is this, and also this fun aspect that, oh, we're NFT and we actually do NFTs, right? And we reserved the trademark for this word in 2021, which means it's protected within the EU region because we are based in Berlin at the moment, and in our categories, right? So I will not go into detail into the IP and license categories, but basically we're covering the crypto and the areas that we
Got
are
it.
active in right now. Yeah.
So,
Got it.
Vishal,
Got it.
he said
And when
covered in the EU space, so we can always start
yeah,
NFT,
we can.
India, Asia.
Yeah, from my experiences, it's worldwide. It sounds very good. It's an ideal case, but in practice, that's very hard to chase people in other countries, in a lot of other countries. So at least in EU, that's very enforceable, very easy, and a lot of peers from my co-founder network also follow this path. So I think that's you can extend it based on how you build your next customer target groups.
Got it. And what was your first moment with Web3? I mean, how did you get started with this entire concept? And
Yeah.
then before even starting your company, what is your first moment and what was your inspiration?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thanks for that. My background is in marketing. I spent last 8 years in the tech startups in different areas, including the influencers like YouTubers, marketing for that, also the tech startups like IoT and so on. So my initial case when I fell into the Web3 rabbit hole was in 2019, and 2019 when I discovered about NFTs. And I thought it was a ultimately really good idea for creators to get rid of the ads. Because if you think about it, till today, a lot of YouTubers and creators, they use ads as their main source of income, right? And it's crazy because I have not met a single person in my life who would say, "Oh, I love ads. I want to watch ads," right? And that's how I started exploring it. And in a few months later, me and my co-founder at that time, my co-worker, Mohammed, with whom found the NFT, we decided to jump on the train and try building the first minimum viable product for creators. And that's what we did. So we built a solution to help creators build auctions, sell the NFTs, and basically then we collected few feedback rounds from our customers, and we realized that utility was very, very important already at that time for the creators, because you should imagine it this way: if a big name YouTuber issues an NFT, they put their name on the line, so they want to give people something long term instead of one pump and dump scheme, right? And that's where we realized, okay, utility is the key. And that's where we steered our idea to becoming a platform that we are today, which is helping brands and creators to issue Web3 based loyalty memberships to easily attach utilities and to engage their communities.
Got it. That's very exciting. And just out of curiosity, like today, a lot of brands have already launched their NFT. Even the bigger brands, there's like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Starbucks, and all. In your mind or in your opinion, can you tell us which one is your favorite from a point of view of pure execution? Like they have done the NFT launch and it's again it's usability or utility in the right way. What would be that example, and why do you think that is kind of a playbook that others should follow? Because today a lot of brands are launching NFT. Some are just launching it for the sake of it, that we want to be present in the area, we want to generate some PR, a lot of we want to do some charity, we want to collaborate with some celebrities. There's a lot of use cases, but uh, in your top of your mind, what is one of the best execution, and why do you think that, which can be a
Yeah.
playbook for other brands to follow?
Yeah, I think you mentioned a really good point there. You said some brands use it as a marketing stunt, and that's okay. That's part of the game. Some people just want to get their toes into the game, test the waters. That's fine. But I think the whole before I answer your question directly, maybe I do a few sentences about it. I think the whole games goes into the direction that last year, when we had this hype, it was all about NFTs and pump and dump schemes. And yeah, as we saw it, it faded away, right? And now a lot of brands, and also including creators who are looking at the NFTs, they are trying to find the real value, real utility, right? So the winning NFTs and the projects today are those who offer real value to the buyers. And in that regard, if you would ask me which brands did a good job, I think, first of all brands who entered into the space and they were brave enough to launch, kudos, well done, no matter of the outcome. But I really fancy the Starbucks use case because, first of all, Starbucks has one of the strongest loyalty membership that existed already. And they decided it takes guts to really make a decision to, okay, guys, now we're going to go all Web3. They are also on Polygon like us, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. But what they did really smart, and what I really love about it, they don't really use the word NFT in their communication. So what they do, they call it digital stamps, right? That people can collect and unlock certain experiences. And I believe that's the future. You do not really need to mention the technology that you're using to achieve the use case that you're working with, right? So think about it that way. If I send you an email and I describe to you everything that happens in the background, right? Or you go to the website and somebody tells you how beautifully it was built with Java or so on, you don't care. You're a user, you want to use it, you want to achieve your goal, and you want to be done with it and then move on, right? And it's same with NFTs, because a lot of people, including myself in the beginning, just because you're so close to the technology and it develops so rapidly and you're excited with it, we make a lot of times a mistake of putting the technology up front, and that should not be the case. So to answer your question in a short manner, I think the brands who really put out the use cases in front, they do proper communication with their community and explain why they do it. I think
Got
these
it.
are the best cases to follow.
Yeah, got it. Amazing. So, this is for our viewers actually. So, Polygon as a company keeps popping up in a conversation. Would you like to simplify what the company Polygon is doing, and where does it sit in this entire ecosystem, for our viewer to fully understand who is Polygon, what it is do in this entire ecosystem?
Yeah, I think Polygon's positioning is pretty good. I mean, there are several blockchains that try to achieve different things, right? So in Polygon's case, you have a very low gas fees. The transaction speed is pretty fast, right? And it's a proof of stake, so which makes it very green in that regards compared to other blockchains. So that was one of the reasons also why we decided to go with the Polygon, because that offers everything that's beneficial to the end user, right? So in that regards, I think Polygon has done a pretty good job. And at the end of the day, it's still the Ethereum's ecosystem, right? So you are still not too far from the Ethereum mainnet, which is, I mean, it's debatable, but as of today, it's still one of the most popular chains for NFTs, right? The Ethereum mainnet. So in that regards, I would roll back to what I said earlier, because the technology should provide benefits to the end user. And what we see with our clients, with our brands, and also end customers, they really don't care if it's a Polygon, if it's a Ethereum, or even Solana. In that regards, they cannot differentiate, right? So they come to our platform to purchase NFTs, which is in the, let's call it the shape of a digital card that gives you benefits. And you come, you buy your card, and then you get your benefits, right? So in that regards, technology is secondary in that regards, but we chose Polygon firstly and foremostly because it was green, and that would offer low transaction fees, gas fees, to the end users, so they would suffer the least. That was our main key.
Yeah. Got it. Maybe slightly changing gears, we would love to understand more about what does your company do, where do you play, and what is your maybe next or 1 year, 2 year roadmap? Where do you see this is going?
Yeah. Basically, what we do now, it's a very broad phrase, and I'm sure you heard a million times that people help closing the gap between the Web2 and Web3. So we onboard the Web2 brands into Web3. And the way we do this, we help Web2 brands set up Web3-based loyalty memberships on our platform. So the way you can imagine is that the membership card is represented by an NFT, and brands can attach physical or digital benefits to it that then the end user and buyer can redeem also via our platform, right? So in other regards, we try to give to the brands all the benefits of the Web3 space and none of the pains. And when it comes to the pains, we mean by pain the hustle of that the users need to have a wallet, right? They need to set it up, then they need to get a crypto, etc., etc. So for people who spend some time in the space, that might not sound as complicated, but for people who never really encountered with this tech, it's very annoying, and even setting up a MetaMask could be a very big barrier, right? So in that regards, we simplify the whole technology aspect. So we enable buyers to use their email addresses. We use Magic Wallet for that service, and also enable direct credit card payments. So in that regards, it's easy for the brands to set up these memberships, but also for the end customers, very easy. In the same manner that they are already used surfing the Web2 internet, right? So, and that's basically the biggest advantage. So our role is to minimize the entry barriers for the Web2 brands to really get started and test it out, because what I noticed, and I find it a little bit unfair, is that a lot of big brands like Starbucks and Nike and now BMW also announced, and others, right? So they all utilize this technology, but they are building these solutions by themselves, right? So how about these rather smaller brands who not necessarily have the tech know-how, they don't have the IT teams, and they cannot afford the expensive agencies, marketing agencies. So for them, we want to be this enabler, a platform where they can jump on the train, get started very easily. We at this moment, we don't even charge upfront fees, because we want to really live the motto that we are preaching, right? And help them get started. And that's the exciting part, educating these brands daily and explaining people why using NFTs brings more benefit. But I think that's also another topic. I guess we need to also discuss why it makes sense to have NFT as a loyalty membership card as versus standard Web2 membership card, right? And partially I already touched to that aspect. So one is that, of course, we all know that the transactions are more transparent. It's hard to fake. People can resell it, right? That gives you a total ownership. But what I really, really find fascinating, and I'm actually working this quarter and next to also address your question about what I'm trying to achieve in the coming months and years. For this year, I really want to set 2 brands up, which will issue their membership NFTs on our platform. But basically, the owners of token from brand A can also receive the utilities of brand B. So
That's amazing.
one step back. So the way it works, and I think that's the biggest advantage of having the NFTs in the loyalty, is that, let's say Starbucks, right? They already have a Starbucks membership, and owners of these Starbucks tokens get their benefits, right? So tomorrow, the Dunkin' Donuts could say, guys, everybody who owns a Starbucks token, we know you are amazing customers, you're loyal customers, so you will be eligible for 20% discount in our stores, right? And you can achieve that very simply within a day of setting up. And there's no need of docking the 2 CRM systems and checking if this person is really a member of Starbucks. And that would be nightmare, right? That would be data regulation nightmare. But with tokens, you just check a person's wallet. If they have a token inside, you can easily give them benefits and discounts, right? So that means that the Dunkin' Donuts benefits because they get loyal customers from Starbucks their attention, right? And Starbucks benefits because their loyalty program suddenly got more exciting. Now, instead of their own benefits, even Starbucks offers on top. So for this year, my goal is really to set 1 or 2 examples like that, where 2 or 3 brands could partner up. Let's put it this way, unofficially, because then they don't have to dock their CRM systems with one another, and really show the power of NFTs, what it means to really seamlessly hold something in your wallet and have access in different ecosystems. So I think that's something that will unlock this snowball effect in the ecosystem. So that's what I'm focusing right now.
No, I think it's truly making everything very accessible. Like I recall 1.5 years ago when I first went to explore OpenSea, it was very complicated for me as a non-Web3 person. But I think with player like you, you're making it very much accessible for everyone. But I have one more very different question from the topic. Given the everything that has happened in the NFT space, all the flipping and phishing, user end user like you and me, or our sentiments towards NFT as a maybe commodity has been quite negative for the last 3 or 6 months. What do you feel when this tide will change, if it will, and what and how it will recover?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think in general, because of the last few months, the connotation to crypto and NFTs in general is negative, right? So crypto is associated with, okay, that this will fail because we're in crypto winter right now and few things happen there. And with NFTs, a lot of people associate it with the scam. So that's actually one of the reasons why I think why a lot of brands opt in for not using NFTs into their communication. Besides that, it's just technology and you don't need to communicate, but also because it causes a negative result in many people's minds, right?
Yeah.
But also what we are trying to explain to people that we are talking to on the brand side and also end customer side, we by establishing these loyalty programs, we also try very much to detach our NFTs from the speculative market. And what that means is when you buy NFT, let's say you have a favorite singer, right? And you want to get their NFT, and this NFT guarantees a dinner with them, right? And you paid for that, let's say 5,000 euros, right? And if you pay this amount for you, that's the money that is worth it, right? So you would go with dinner with this person for that amount of money. So if next week the Bitcoin crashes or has a bull run, in that regard, you don't care because you paid for the utility. And that's why we call them utility NFTs and not these generic NFTs where it's all about, okay, who gets on the whitelist, right, for the pre-sale, who will resell it fast. So that's we really trying to stay away. And that's what we're trying to explain to our customers, that NFT is simply a tool, right? A tool and technology that can carry these loyalty programs. And a lot of people, after they understand this, they are quite positive on it, after they get the benefits. But you're right. In general, it's a negative feeling is still there, and I hope
I think a broader education and awareness need to be driven on all of this across, right? Then people start understanding it, and once they understand it, they will be more accepting.
Yeah, I mean, it's same with the right click and save, right? So it took a while for people to really get why it's different than right clicking and saving, because it's the good example was, okay, I can also make a copy of the Mona Lisa, but nobody will pay millions for it, right? So it's same with right clicking and saving. That took a time. So now I think the next challenge is really explaining people that NFTs can be also non-speculative, right? And I think that's where the whole economy is going now for the NFTs whole sector. We are going in the area where we need to really prove the valid use cases that deliver the value. So it's not about how quickly you can hype it up and then who is the quicker to sell, but it's all about delivering the long-term value that excites the customer, that makes the customer to talk with the creator or engage with the brand on different levels. And it's a win-win situation. If you do it really well, Starbucks, I'm not sure if that was an official report, but Starbucks already reported the first positive engagement number.
I think they have also posted some revenue number recently. Out of that.
Yeah, exactly. And from also our use cases, right? So we have done recently a use case with the NH Hotel Group, which is a hotel chain. And basically we issued NFTs for their NFT Skybar in Frankfurt, Germany. And owners of these NFTs could skip the line to the Skybar, because usually people wait for 2 hours and you could get a free cocktail, right? And it sold out in 90 minutes and people were redeeming this utility. But the interesting fact was that these people engaged with the brand multiple times. So 2 weeks after the NFT collection was sold out, these people also bought additional services from the hotel worth 300 euros on average. So I think NFTs are a really great tool to help the brands identify the top fans within their community, activate them, and establish a direct connection. I think that's where it goes.
Giorgi, you mentioned that you don't take, or there's no upfront cost for the companies to come and take your services. So how does the revenue model work for you?
Yeah, that's basically part of our investment into the market at the moment, that we want to onboard as many brands as possible in a shorter time. But we do charge 5% commission on every successful sale. So it's more success-based use case, right? So we offer our platform for free. We give a guidance. We help them answer the questions. And that's why we call it a risk-free, because in the worst case, if none of the NFT sells, which normally doesn't happen, then the only thing that happened is you just have not sold anything, right? So you don't have any monetary losses or expenses. And that's also our promise to brands, that we do everything to help them get started easily without too much cost and test the waters. And usually they see, after they try it, they see that, okay, this is exciting, and they want to take the further steps.
So do you also help the brands to market their NFT collections, or do you help them with their go-to-market strategy?
So what we help brands with is to set up the communication strategy. So how they can communicate, how they can explain NFTs to their existing community. But the brands we work with, usually they have established communities. So they utilize their existing channels, also including social media channels. So they, in that regards, the brands are and own the best channels to reach their fans and customers. So in that regards, we do not do marketing for them. So they share this within their community. And because our solution is very easily accessible to everyone, including the Web2 people, then they can easily bring their Web2 community into this game as well.
Got it. So for how long have you been running NFT and how big is the team?
We founded the company in 2021. As I told you the story, we had a few iterations of the product. Right now we are 5 people, and soon to be 6. So still small and growing.
And what was your profession before founding NFT? What's your background?
I spent, so as I said, my official background is marketing. That's what I started. That's what I have a degree in, but I worked so I spent the last 8 years in a very early stage startup. So when I say early stage, that means starting with 3 to 5 people and, growing it to 25, 50 people. So I never worked in a bigger company than, I think 70 people. That was the biggest. So in the early stage, you do mostly everything, right? So you have to wear a lot of hats. So my areas were business development, growth, marketing. These were the areas where I would spend, and also engagement and loyalty. So that's where I would spend most of my time. Yeah. But in terms of my last position before founding NFT was head of marketing at one of the omnichannel retailer startup.
Oh, that's interesting. So what have been your major challenges in your startup journey? Because as I understand, Web3 is a new world. It's even difficult to find mentors who could mentee a Web3 company. So what are the challenges that you've been facing?
Yeah, that's very true. We also joined Accelerator as part of our startup journey, and we had some good Web3 mentors. But also, as you said, it's very hard to find the OG Web3 people who spent the last 15 years in this area, right? So more or less, most of the crowd in the space is new, including myself. So the trouble, or let's put it this way, the difficulties that we had along the way, I mean, first you need to figure out the regulation aspect, right? So depending where you're located, there are certain rules that are valid for crypto and NFT. So we had to first figure out certain things and work out with Germany. So we were able to do what we are doing today. And also, I think the hardest part is the educational part, right? So at every stage where you are, you have to educate, being with investors, being with the new employees, right? Where you're looking for the new employees to share the vision and so on. The market is still new. So maybe you go to Twitter for a day and then you feel like you're late to the party, but we are still very early in the game. And also because we're on the verge of Web 2 and Web 3, right? So it's always, we need to always find a fine line between the Web 2 and Web 3. So even when we're going to events, right? So if we go fully to Web 3 events, then we are completely missing out to Web 2 perspective. If we go to Web 2 perspective, we need to always stay up to date. What developments, what new changes happening into Web 3. So we're trying to gather and get the best of those two worlds. And sometimes that can be challenging, especially in the Web3 world, because it develops so fast. And of course, it's challenging to keep up with all the news and all the developments.
So what are the top accelerators or VC funds that are actively engaging with the Web3 startups?
The top accelerator, of course, comes to mind, the Y Combinator. I think they are doing a pretty good job, and they had a lot of crypto or Web3 startups in their batches. Also from US, the Horowitz A16 Zine, right? They are very bullish on crypto space. They issued several $billion fund, if I'm not mistaken, recently. And in general, I think there's hardly any VC that on a high level don't consider having some kind of Web3 strategy, because one way or another, be it a sustainability aspect or metaverse aspect or Web3 aspect, I think a lot of funds are also setting up these new branches where they cover these aspects as well. So I think it all comes down to in which area, which region are you active? And then if founders are looking for this VCs, then I would go start first with the regional venture capitals, right, capitalists, and then move out to the top.
How difficult has hiring been for you? I understand it's still a small team, 5-member team, which will become a 6-member team. But
Yeah.
how do you find your early employees who are, I mean, I can't say that they're co-founders, but they're as important as choosing your co-founder.
Yeah. Yeah, early employees are very, very crucial. They actually, I heard first 10 employees define you, build the culture for your companies, and that's how we are treating each new employee. So we make sure that it's a technical fit on the skill level, but also on a cultural level, right? So the values are same, and they share the vision. They find the technology exciting. And the way we find I will tell you, it's not easy. So we are searching internationally, and our team is also international, because I think in Web3 space, if you focus too much on local, you may miss out on a lot of great talent, right? And especially after Corona, I think people are more willing to work remotely. So if you force, or if you put your focus only in local market and then force people to go to office every day, I think you're going to miss out on a lot of great talent. So in that regards, we are trying to offer our employees all the perks of the remote work, right? So we can enable them everything that the startup can enable them, right?
How do you, or in 2023, which are, let's say, the top Web3 startups that you are keeping your eyes on, that hey,
Web3 startups. I would not say I would not say startups, but I think when it comes to providers like MoonPay, and I mean, there are so many great Web3 companies, right, including the MetaMask and so on. I think these are companies that you need to keep your eyes on, because usually these are the companies that are pushing the edge, right? So in that regards, I try to focus more on these forerunners, the pioneers, the big companies that I would not necessarily call them startups, but I think those are the ones who create the inspiration for startups at the moment. So, and as for the Web3 startups, it would be very, very hard. Also in Berlin here, there are so many great startups, so many bright minds that are running their own ideas and pushing forward. So it would be very hard to create a list of 10, right? So a lot of bright minds, but at this point, I try to focus on this rather a bit bigger companies who really have impact in the industry in a positive way and pushing the edge.
we see a lot of startups coming from Berlin, Germany. Is it something that the administration is doing there?
Well, Berlin has a very, first of all, it's by definition a very tolerant city. Let's put it this way. A lot of different ideas are accepted by default, and I think it could be, I don't know, I don't have evidence for that, but that could be also why Web3 thrives, because Web3 by definition is abandoning the Web2, right, as we know it, moving to something different frontier. And I think it's also people's mindset that are here, right? So a lot of international people who enjoy thinking in different ideas, pushing the edge of the industry. And Berlin is also having quite a big hub of Web3 people, right? So there are a lot of events, Web3 meetups, Web3 conferences, hackathons, etc., etc. So I think this really creates a very good atmosphere and environment for everyone who wants to build in this space.
Apart from use case of NFT as loyalty, what other use cases are that we should keep an eye on, or something that we might see developing in coming years?
I think the question would be what areas NFTs would not disrupt, right? Because technically you could use NFTs for many things. What I'm big fan of for the NFT use case is the fashion. I think that could be transformative, how the fashion companies would use NFTs. Because as you may think of it, NFT has its visual aspect, but in fashion, you are buying something that you can also wear in Metaverse digitally, right? So that really adds value to it besides then just having art that you look at it, right? But also ticketing. I think ticketing is already quite interesting case and it's growing a lot. So I could imagine in 5 years that ticketing for festivals, for your favorite concerts, that could be done via NFTs very easily, because the ticketing industry also has big problems with the frauds and fake ticketing and reselling and so on. And I believe NFTs are something that could easily solve or tackle those problems.
Yeah, for sure. Vishal, I understand asked something around NFT, so please go forward.
Yeah. So I have more of a speculative thought, right? And again, it is coming from my experience. So basically, before the NFT came into, the loyalty as a use case existed. Each brand or each company had their loyalty. Then companies like Amex came and they bundled the service. Do you see this same thing happening with NFT, where a player like a Moonplay or MetaMask is going to bundle NFT utilities and give the consumer, instead of a consumer owning 50 different NFT from 50 different brands, they will just own one NFT from Moonpay, which give them accessibility to 50 different utilities of 50 different brands. Do you see that happening soon in the space?
I see that happening, but not soon, because I think we're right now at the level where we need to explain why these NFTs make sense at all to have it, right? So that's the first layer. Once this is everyday usage and then people start collecting several NFTs, then comes the next question from the customer. Why do I have to have 20 different
No.
NFTs to get similar benefits, right? And then I think it's the same discussion that we would have if we would ask ourselves, do we need so many wallets, right? Maybe there's a one wallet that aggregates them all, or even with the blockchains, right? Because at the end of the day, for the end customer, it's again, same effect, right? So I think consolidation at some point of the NFTs will happen for sure. But for that, first, you need the infrastructure, right? So my NFT is accepted with brand A, but also brand B. There needs to be some kind of infrastructure for that, but also the understanding from the end customer side, or they actively demand and see value in this, right? And
Yeah.
I think that would happen eventually, but as of today, I still see it quite far from that.
Yeah, it takes me back to Lord of the Rings, that one ring to rule them all. So again, drawing parallels. So when OTT came, people want to have OTT. Now I have HBO Max, I have Prime, Netflix, Disney Plus. Now I'm asking question: is there someone who can aggregate everything? And I think it's the days not far that when someone will reinvent cable and bring all the OTTs under the same service. I think in some market, at least in I think India, one
Yeah.
telco is doing it. But yeah, I agree. Once people
Yeah.
get used to having NFT, maybe we'll see a aggregator coming into
Yeah.
play.
Yeah, exactly. You brought up a very good point because I mean now you are used to it, right? So you're used to Netflix, you're used to Disney Plus and other providers, and now you think, okay, wouldn't it be more convenient to have one setup where I can watch all my favorite shows and I don't have to jump around? But as of today, I would see we are in the phase where we explain to customers, hey, this is Netflix. You can stream movies on demand. You know, you can that's where we are at the moment. So we have to
Yeah,
first
agree,
onboard
agree,
the friends
agree.
and then get there. Yeah, yeah. So 100%.
Yes, maybe down 10 years down the line, we'll see that day when the MoonPay is going to aggregate things or MetaMask doing that. But yeah, we do have a lot of space between today and that 10 year for
Yeah.
people to get
Uh,
used to NFT. It should be at a mass adaptation of NFT that everyone have an NFT. Like today, everyone has an OTT, right? Everyone needs to have an NFT, multiple NFT to be in that space.
We need a
yeah.
chat
And
moment for NFTs.
Yeah, yeah. That's very good point. I wanted to say now add AI to this equation, and then you have very unpredictable future. So it's I think even 5 years from now on, it's very hard to speculate what's going to happen
okay.
because yeah, the technology accelerates everything, right? But I think what will happen is the digital wallets will become more the identity thing, right? So what you own and what you have in your wallet will define
Who you
what
are.
kind of person. Yeah, exactly. So the same way today people wear Rolex and sneakers to signal whatever. I mean, we all signal something, right? So if you have a
Social
iPhone, you're signaling something. If you
social
have Android, you're
validation.
signaling something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I think it will become the same way signaling item, but it will be so much integrated into our everyday lives that you do not think that, oh, I have a wallet and this runs on a blockchain, which is a decentralized public ledger, right? And you don't need to know it. It just works,
I
right?
yeah, I think someone needs to simplify it. To that, I because you brought up AI, I have a fundamental question. If today I'm generating an AI art on Midjourney, and I'm taking that and minting that as an NFT, do I own that IP or is Midjourney as a because it is generated on Midjourney as a platform, will have a conflict with me on the IP? How does that work?
I'm by no means the expert in intellectual property, but I myself happens to use Midjourney, and they basically said in their plans, if you purchase their plan, that you have unlimited license right on
Okay,
their image,
got it.
right? But one interesting thing is, and that I don't have good answer for, of course, the AI generated the image, so nobody has license for it. But the very good point that a lot of creators raised is these models that a lot of companies, AI companies use, they are trained on the existing items
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from other people, right? For
Yeah.
which people own IP. So the question is, I used your work, your IP to generate something. Yeah, that's the dilemma. Maybe that's the
Yeah,
dilemma
I
for
think I
lawyers.
think
Very interesting
I
thought.
think AI companies need to have a attribution model equivalent for them, right? Then they can do something on the top of that. Then they can choose to pay someone like if AI generated has a 5% inspiration from my original art, then
Yeah.
basis the subscription revenue they can pay 5% as a royalty, right? I think that can be a way to make it work so that artists don't complain, generator don't complain, everyone is happy in the ecosystem.
Yeah, that's another hot topic, right? I don't know if you probably heard now the OpenSea removing the royalties. Well, temporarily, but that's what is happening, and there's a big backlash from the artists and creators that there will be no more royalties, right? So the royalties were put down to zero. So yeah, unfortunately, sometimes things don't go the way it's supposed to be, because royalties for the artists, that's one of the biggest advantages of dealing with NFTs. Yeah. But in general, I agree with you that royalties in AI case could be also one solution where the royalties are guaranteed by a smart contract.
Got it. Yeah.
I think with this, we almost are out of time. So, George, it was amazing to have you, and the discussion was quite intense. Love to know about how NFT works, and hopefully, we can have you for another podcast sometime soon and have more such amazing discussion.
Thank you,
Thank you
gentlemen.
so much. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thanks for an interesting talk. Enjoyed it.